Republican Alabama Governor Robert Bentley. He is the first governor to formally announce that he is refusing to relocate Syrian refugees to his state. Governor, thank you very much for joining us. Please make the case for your action.
Well, it's my responsibility as the governor of Alabama to make sure that the people of Alabama are safe and secure. And we have too many unanswered questions related to the refugees. And when we have those unanswered questions by the federal government, we can't take the responsibility on the state level to bring people in. They only have to be right one time, terrorists do, and we have to be wrong one time. And so we can't take that chance, and that's why we've made this decision.
And the pushback would be, well, then you wouldn't let anybody in the country from anywhere because you never know with full certainty that a population is going to be harm-free and that the vetting of these refugees is not only layered and extended, but as exhaustive as any.
Well, I have been told by my law enforcement agency, by Homeland Security, that there have been some major threats against the United States after 9/11, and all of those individuals came out of refugee programs.
You've been told that all of the people who would want to harm the United States have come from refugee programs? Is that what you're saying?
Major threats that have occurred since 9/11, not necessarily all, but the major threats that have been stopped, those individuals came out of refugee programs. That's what I've been told.
And so that informs your position that the refugees are the exact group that you want to target in terms of whom to keep out of the country?
Well, right now, we just have to make a decision on each individual situation. And right now, the situation is that we have to protect the people of our states. Do we have the authority? Yes, we have the authority to do that.
Well, the authority, that's going to be a separate conversation, right? Obviously, immigration is federally done. This comes down to what funding you can provide or not provide in your state. You then have the complication that even if they're not allowed in Alabama, but they are allowed in Florida or Mississippi, they have rights of movement as, temporary citizens in the country, so they could just move into your state. All of that would have to be dealt with. But I think this main question of whether or not to allow them at all is worth some more focus. The numbers show that this perception that what you're letting in this refugee population are warrior-age males kind of doesn't get supported by statistics. It's 50-50 male-female. Most of the people who want to come in, this 1% of the refugee population that the UN directs towards U.S. consideration, are really young boys, girls, women, and young adult men. Does that change your opinion?
Well, my heart says that we should let these people in simply because they're fighting ISIS and have been displaced by ISIS, just like ISIS is our enemy also. So my heart says that we should let them in. But my head says that I have to protect the people of the state of Alabama and keep them secure.
Well, in reconciling your heart with your head, does your head tell you that this is essentially a religious test that you're putting on this population, that simply because they are Muslims fleeing Syria, that you don't want them here, even though there's all this layered vetting and considerations of who's getting let in, and it's a relatively small slice of the overall population?
Well, let me say that the vetting is not done very well because the head of the FBI himself said that we cannot vet these people completely. And we just can't take a chance on it right now. We need to be protective of the people of our state, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
I understand that. Now, what Comey said was that if they haven't made any mark where they are, if they're not recognized as a threat in the system, no amount of vetting would change that. And that's certainly a concern, but isn't this a major decision to make, to say that this entire group of people, some 4 million fleeing for their lives, cannot be considered to enter the United States because of the concerns you have? Think about the implications that might reverberate across the world, the message that America would be sending, that we won't accept any of these people who are literally running for their lives?
No, I said in my heart, I feel that way. I feel that we should look into allowing them a place to go. But just like Condoleezza Rice said yesterday when I was with her, she said that the areas that need where they need an area is really in the region where they live. It's not here in the United States.
And as you know, the overwhelming majority are going exactly there. They're either in Turkey or in a regional entity. We're dealing with a very small slice that are being passed along by the UN to the U.S. for consideration. But obviously this is a debate that's going on because it's definitional about what the country wants to be about, not just how it vets these refugees. But, Governor, thank you very much to make the case. We'll continue this conversation as it starts to move along in terms of what the options are. Thank you, Governor, for joining us on New Day.